Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour podcast.
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode. Thank you for joining us tonight. Episode 284. Holy crap, we are closing in on that 300. Bry, how are you doing tonight, you cold son of a bitch?
uh, feel very warm and toasty right now. Yeah, it's been a hell of a week, Chambers. I guess first and foremost, how was your turkey day?
Oh, yeah. It was good. Went down to my brother's, brought the parents with me, saw the family, came home and just kind of vegged out, and then yeah, just a whole weekend of activities and stuff like that. So went very quick. Not a lot of resting, but it was still, good time, all that bull crap. How about you,
Yeah,
Brian?
it was chill. We had well, my brother was supposed to come, but he didn't because he was sick. So his wife and the kiddos came over. So I've said we talked about this in the last episode. I am definitely a fan of hosting Thanksgiving versus traveling. I don't like to travel on holidays in general. Um, I know you're the king of always traveling on
I
holidays.
I don't do it as much anymore. Like back before the kid, we would do like 3 or 4 stops on Christmas and on Thanksgiving in one day. Goddamn nightmare. So I'm glad those days are behind me.
Yeah.
One trip to my brother's, that's fine. Down, back, good. I'm happy. I'm fine.
Yeah, that there comes that moment where you're like, okay, we ate the meal. I can sit down with my drink, whatever it is, and yeah, you just chill out and get drunk. As you alluded to, me being so cold, the only thing I missed out on is I think like most people, I enjoy the day after Thanksgiving, all the leftovers, and I never got to do that except for last night. Or yeah, last night. Because right away, Friday morning, left to go on a hunting trip. Um, and what would be the least relaxing thing you could do? Sit out in a tree stand for 8+ hours when it's 21 degrees with a 15-mile-an-hour wind chill. Yeah, it was
Hey,
cold.
hey, Brian, whose fault is that?
But it's nice to get away. I'll say that. And yeah, the tradition before opening day is always you drink way too much, and then people start bringing out the shots. Friggin' Matty K brought out Crown Royal Peach, which is haven't had Crown Royal #1 in I don't know how long, but yeah, just shots of that is interesting. I'll say that.
Oh, I bet. I bet it's a little too smooth for its own good, too.
Yeah, it was that and Tennessee Honey, which is like Jack Daniels with honey, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so no, good time. But yeah, just like you, just balls busy between like getting shit ready for like converting over to Christmas decorations, getting shit ready for Thanksgiving, then leaving, coming back late last night. Um, yeah, so if you're listening to this, it's obviously been a week. You'll have noticed last week that the episode didn't come out till Tuesday morning because, yeah, I wasn't around to do any editing last week.
Ha ha ha. Ha.
But yeah, speaking of, I honestly don't think I spent any time whatsoever gaming last week. Like, what day did we record? Was it Monday last week?
Monday, I think.
Yeah. I literally Uh, kids ended up having a half day on Tuesday, off on Wednesday. So between work, dealing with them, getting shit together, yeah, I didn't even boot up Call of Duty. I didn't do shit. How about you? Did you do any gaming?
At first, no, because like, yeah, Thanksgiving and then setting up Christmas decorations, my band had a gig, all this other bullshit. So, like in between, like after I render, I will always like I have like a game that I'll dick around with. Like it was Musha for a while, and it was what the hell is that shooter I had just beaten? Truxton when I was going through that. So like right now it's Blazing Lasers on the Turbo. So I'll sit down and play that for like an hour as everything renders and I send it to you. And I was like, well, this will probably be all my gaming for the week, but yesterday, I actually had some free time. I was able to sit down and bang out a lot of the recording for Berserk Boy for our next Patreon review. So, as of right now, the final one. So, yeah, I think I got through like probably 75% of the recording for that. So, I was doing some work yesterday. And in between
Nice.
that, just, poop breaks with Bolitro trying to beat more of the different decks in there. It doesn't. I don't have the ungodly addiction to it I had with Slay the Spire, thank God. But it's still a fun one to pop open and give a go at. Do a run or two.
Yeah, I honestly think you might have burnt out your addiction with Slay the Spire.
Oh, I definitely did.
I think that did you more harm. I think that was like doing a level 50 club. I think it doing things like that to excess, it burns you out pretty good.
Oh, the amount of time I put into that, I could have beaten like 10 games probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this year you could have easily went through a franchise considering how much time you already put into that. Just Slay the
Oops.
Spire alone.
Oopsie poopsies. Yeah, unfortunately, Baltro doesn't show you your game time. So, damn.
I I can only imagine. I'm gonna assume it's gonna get right up there with Slay the Spire at some point.
Yeah, it definitely will probably at some point. Yay. Hopefully not. Dear God, hopefully not.
So Chambers, what you sipping on tonight?
So I am going to keep it light after this, but I am starting off with something a little different from the Devil's Backbone Distilling Company. This comes to us from it is the Orange Smash. It is a spirit, 7.5% alcohol by volume. Comes to us from good old Lexington, Virginia. And this is like the crush that I had when I was down in Busch Gardens. And like I took a sip of this and I was like, holy crap, this is straight dangerous. It
Hmm.
tastes like a lighter orange soda, but it still tastes really good. Even though like it doesn't look like an orange soda at all. It almost looks like a, carbonated lemonade. But yeah, it's absolutely delicious. It goes down super smooth. It's a dangerous little bitch.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I started off when I was waiting for you. I got the Sam Adams Winter Lager from their variety pack. Already finished that off. So similar to last week when I was doing a little celebration for the boys in green, I have to go with good old Victory Brotherly Love Hazy IPA 6%. Pretty standard. You and I think have both had it. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast, but I know we've both had this one. And
Up, here we go.
this hazy IPA brings bright citrus notes that flourish into a full tropical fruit character. It also brings a brighter side to life. We name this beer Brotherly Love after the city that made us, to give back to organizations helping local communities. With this beer, we're reinvesting in our backyard, and we hope you'll join us to drink some beer and do some good. Sounds a little too much like us. I think they stole it. Brewmaster's approval, Bill and Ron. So yeah, Victory. We've talked about Victory enough. They're probably second or third best known PA brewery. I would say it's Yingling, Yards, and Victory.
Easily
Probably the
Yingling
big
one.
three.
Easily Yingling is one. I don't know. I wonder how like widespread Yards is like outside of our area because like Yards is huge here, but like I'm pretty sure Victory's like more spread out around the coast. So I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm not
Maybe
sure.
Trogs might be up there too. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh yeah, Trogs definitely. Like I said, I think there's probably a Mount Rushmore top five. Now I know all the goddamn Pittsburghians will probably be like, but Church was it Churchworks? I forget the name. It's Church something.
No, it's called
Um,
Yinzer shit, so no one cares.
but yeah, the Sam Adams, I'll say, I say this all the time. I've never had a bad Sam Adams. I might not have had ones that didn't go like, oh my God, they're amazing, but I've never had one and went, ew, this don't taste good. So their winter lager is perfectly good. This hazy IPA though, super, super flavorful. I think I almost want to say it's like I taste pineapple because you usually have like grapefruit, some kind of citrus. This one I think is pineapple, so pretty damn good.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, actually, what do you call it? Speaking of Sam Adams, yesterday, our good old friend Chris, he was in from out of town, lives in Seattle now. So he came over to watch the game with me and he brought, good old 6 pack of Boston Lager. I don't think I've had just straight Boston Lager in at least like 10 years, 15 years, maybe. Like it's been forever. And I'm just drinking it. I'm just like, it's a tasty little bitch. Like
Good as
it,
shit.
it, it never lost its fastball. It's just a very straight, solid American lager and it's goddamn delicious.
Vienna style lager.
There you go.
because that's the style I had last week. This was also very good. So
Hmm.
yeah. Um, oh, speaking of taste and things, we've talked many times, I think because of Patreon questions and whatever, of random fast food. What is your take on Arby's? Are
Overhated.
you like it or hate it?
I like it. I
I
like
agree.
Arby's. Yeah.
But do you like, okay, yeah. So there's one that opened up right next to me. So where all the shops are at like York and
Oh, I
Street
know.
Road.
I know exactly where it went. Yep. I haven't
Yeah.
been to it yet, but I
So
know it's at.
just decided to stop there today. Um, yeah, the Arby's is I really don't get. I think people don't in general like roast beef sandwiches. I think that's a thing most people hate on, which I don't know. You try that beef and cheddar. I'm like, how do you hate on that?
Yeah,
What's not
exactly.
to like? But yeah, my go-to with
It's
that
got
is
it's got it's got a
always
good bun, the little onion bits all chopped up in
the
there,
onion.
the gooey
Hmm.
cheddar, the roast beef, solid roast beef. I don't see the hate for it, and the sides. Oh God, the sides.
I always do the curly fries with a side of cheese with it. So damn good.
Yep, you have the poppers, you have those wedge thingies. They're all so
Mm-hmm.
good.
And don't sleep on their sliders. The buffalo chicken sliders are friggin' delicious. So I get those all the time.
Never fucked with them. I'll have to give that a go.
Yeah, so had that today. It opened maybe a month ago. So yeah, I was curious what the Chambers approach is on that.
I mean, I'm a big fat fuck. Of course, I like any fast food, but yeah, no, Arby's definitely overhated. Arby's like there's that one Simpsons joke like 20 years ago, and everyone just went, "Oh yeah, fuck Arby's." So I think it adds that to it.
Yeah.
It's like a meme of hating Arby's, like pineapple on pizza, like dumb meme shit.
Would you say Arby's is the Nickelback of the fast food world?
You know what? Yes, I will. Even though I don't think they're as nearly as successful as Nickelback has been, but
Oh no. But they did have Vin Rames as their speaker.
well, you got me there. Shit,
Everyone secretly likes it, but you don't want to admit it in public.
damn it.
But Chambers, speaking of questions we've got previously, what questions do we have this week?
Patreon.com/drink a beer and play a game. Where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question that we'll answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. First up from Kev Called. What movie, show, or video game is in need of a justifiable reboot?
Ooh, you throw three at me. Movie, show.
Or it's an or. You don't have to do all three.
No, no, I know. No, that's what I'm trying to. Because there's a lot of shit. I think. Hmm.
I mean, I'll jump in quick while you think. Video game, easy, Resident Evil 6. Because there is such a good core there, and I think we even said that in our review of it. It just overstayed its welcome. It's got its pacing issues and all that bull crap there, but there's a very solid game there, and there's like good stories that are being told in it. It just could be done lot better. Trim some fat, make it look prettier, expand on a couple sections, maybe cut down on some characters that we'll never care about, shit like that.
Okay.
Like we don't need like Resident Evil 4. Like obviously it's cool that it had a great remake, but like that was already like one of the best games ever made. So it's like it didn't need the remake. It wasn't justified. It was just cash grab. Where
Yeah, for
this would be
sure.
like this would be an actual remake and like, a saving of it.
Does five
Or
need a remake?
yeah, I'd say 5 would need a remake. I loved 5. Like we mentioned it when we reviewed it. By the time I got around to playing it, it had been patched to hell. So I didn't have any problem with the computer AI, but everyone else in the world seemingly fucking did. So yeah. Hell, even like I'd like to see like a reboot of like the Army of Two series too.
Hmm.
Like that's been long dead, but pardon me, always had a shitload of fun playing that. And that's another one where people complained about like your AI partner, but again, like I beat that on the hardest game mode with it, and I didn't think it was all that bad to do. So, but it was a cool
I'd
concept
like,
that was there.
yeah, I'm gonna stick with games. Zombies ate my neighbors. I want
Yeah,
like something solidly done. I don't care. Keep it in the same top downs. And I'm not even saying like update the graphics, but don't go crazy. Don't try and make it like realistic. Keep it very cartoony, comic booky. Um, yeah, I think fix the controls. Don't have you just being really moving kind of 90 degrees or, up, down, left, right. Um, Maybe don't have as many levels. I don't think you'd need that many levels in the game.
Or give us a save system. That would be fine.
Well, yeah, that I think that's the thing I would like to see a game out because I think people would love that.
I mean, while we're on that, let's throw your fucking beloved Kid Chameleon in there. Dear God, does that need some
Yeah,
goddamn
true.
sprucing up?
And expand it. Like now, like do that, but just spruce it up once again, reduce levels, add some more powers, and yeah. I mean, I think that was that game's number one problem was just the fucking length of it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, out of that, it's funny because we just talked about the Superman games last week, and I know they're remaking the Superman movie, but like Superman does need a remake, and I don't know if this movie's gonna do it. I
You no, you know what? You know what franchise needs it if we're gonna go into movies and superheroes? Fucking Fantastic Four. Dear God, do they
Mhm.
need a win? Like Superman has some good movies. Fantastic Four has none.
Yeah, no, Fantastic Four, and I know they're in the process of doing it because they're gonna be starting the whole Doom thing. Um, as someone who is such a fan of Marvel, you know what? I'm actually okay if they do, even though I love the original. I'm one of the few. Redo X-Men.
Oh yeah,
Like
I'm fine with that.
restart it the same way they did the Avengers like over 10 years. Do that same idea, but in the X-Men universe. So do it right. Like take like they tried to do it with like First Class, and I love First Class. I actually think that first one was great.
Oh, First Class is awesome. I like Days of Future Past a lot too.
Yeah, like, but it did feel a little bit rushed. You're like, ooh, cool. They're taking time. They're developing as the old team, and then they're like, and here's Apocalypse and Sentinels, and you're like, that's a big jump. You just
No,
went from
the Apocalypse one was pretty bad. No, the Sentinels
yeah,
one I liked. That I thought that was good, but the other one, yeah.
yeah. So, take your time with it, develop it slowly. I don't think you need to give any individual characters their own movies. I think just keep it all on X-Men. Um, Maybe focus. I would even be okay if they focus one movie. It's just like Brotherhood of Mutants and it's more on the bad guy. Like just do that, but spread it out, take your time, do it over time and do a big build up. The question is, do you build up to the Dark Phoenix or do you build up to Apocalypse?
Man, I'm sick of Dark Phoenix. Like, I get it's like, probably like the most iconic storyline, but I'm so sick of Dark Phoenix. I would rather see Apocalypse. I always thought it was like the coolest villain.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there
Although
with you.
X-Men 97 season 2, that's going to be basically built all around that. So, can't wait for that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that could use a remake. Shows, what's funny is I'm very anti remaking shows. Like that's the thing I go, why? Like let a show be what it was. Like
Small Wonder, bring it back. Modernize it for the modern day.
does that mean just make it woke, Jim? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. Make the little robot girl girl boss while we're at it. A
Yeah.
trans girl boss.
Yeah, shows are the last thing I think ever need remakes. But no, I like that question. I think there are some things that
F Troop.
justifiably need them. Don't you dare.
Oh, I'll go
I
there.
think there's also many things that you're like, okay, either they've been remade so many times, or you're just like, but it just came out. Like I'm sure there's going to be a Matrix remakes at some point. Like even though they just did that movie, what 2 years ago?
2 or 3 now, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm sure they're itching at the bit to redo that one again. Bastards.
It wouldn't shock me. Hey, I mean, of the three of us, I was the one who liked it the most, and I'm even like, okay, we're good. We're good for now. Like, if you're gonna do another Matrix, like, give it to someone else at this point.
Yeah, yeah. It's just time to move on. Bastard. But I like that question.
Yep. Next up from Sandy N. Which Mario Kart character are you?
Hmm. In the latest one, when I've played with my son, I tend to be. Is there a Bowser that's all bones?
That's just like his name's Bones. Yeah, he's like a Koopa.
Okay.
It's just a skeleton.
Um, him or maybe Donkey Kong or Link. I think those are you generally who I pick in a newer game. Now, granted, I don't have as much time. If we're talking the old classic, um, I didn't ever care. It was Donkey Kong or Toad. It was one or the other. How about
Yeah,
you?
I started with the 64, and I was like a big Wario guy at first, and then eventually I learned how to like play as Toad, and I basically played as him in every Mario Kart ever since. So, yeah, I'm a Toad boy.
That makes sense. You son of a bitch.
What? What? Make me a little fast guy. What do you want?
You know what? Don't say
Right,
what.
it's escapism. I need escapism. I need to be the opposite of what I am in real life.
Is that going to be your complaint though? If we ever go head to head, you're like, I wasn't my guy. I can't do good with this.
Yes, yes, I will.
You bastard.
Next up from Burn Retinas, what name would you pick for the Utah Hockey Club?
Hmm. I'll let you throw a guess out there. What the fuck's in Utah?
Mormons. The Scoring Mormons. There we go.
That's a good name. Um, you won't go SLC Punks.
Was that based in Utah?
Oh, the Salt Lake City's in there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm fucking dumb. Yeah, you're right.
So just call them the Punks. There you go.
There you go. Topical. A topical 30-year-old movie reference.
Or just be the Zionist for Zion National Park. It's in there.
Nothing bad will come from that. You know what? I like your idea, Brian. Let's go with the Zionists.
Just do it. What's the problem?
Discourse. I want discourse.
Fucking Utah.
But we like our
Uh,
trees.
yeah, they got a lot of them. Um, man, like just of places I don't give a fuck to go in the country. Yeah,
What?
Utah's pretty high
Utah?
up there.
Utah never jumped out to you, Brian? As a place to be? The place to be?
No, I mean, it's got a lot of great national parks, but then so do a lot of them. But yeah, like you might as well say the same about Idaho. Like, come on.
Come on, Irish boy. You want your potatoes? Don't act like you fucking don't. You Mick piece of shit.
You son of a bitch with your escargot.
Heh, oui.
Damn it.
And last up from Todd Howard sucks. I'm about to go to the airport. What's your go-to food/drink option when you are at the airport?
Oh, if you're going to Philly Airport, I feel like you got to hit Chickies and Pete's.
Yep.
Got to get your beer, get your crab fries. You probably don't want to eat too heavy, so I always like that like pre-boarding beer. So that Chickies and Pete's is my go-to for that. I don't. I tend not to eat too heavy. Now I've only been on a handful of flights, so I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, if you're not going there, I don't know. I'd probably, the way my mind works, like I'd want to make sure I have something that I've had many times before. So I'd probably stick with some chain thing that I'm like, all right, I know this isn't going to make me shit my brains out or fuck with me too much on the flight. So I'll stick with something light from fill in the blank with some chain place that's probably at every airport.
Yeah, I mean, in Philly, I always hit the Chickies as well. I need a couple beers because I fucking hate flying. So I need to take a little bit of that edge off. And even then, I'm still like white knuckling the entire goddamn time. Coming into the Philly airport, if you hate flying, is a nightmare because it's an old airport, it's narrow, and anytime you come in, you have to taxi around and around and around again. Where at a normal airport, once you start making your descent, it's like 10 minutes and you're done. Fucking Philly's descent takes like 45 goddamn minutes to go through the whole goddamn thing. The engines are going as slow as possible just to keep us up. So I'm just sitting there going, it doesn't even sound to run. The engines aren't on. We're going to fall. We're going to fall out of the sky right now. We're going to die. Like, I'm just doing that the entire goddamn time. So yeah, Jimmy needs a few brewskis during all that.
Yeah, I am a fan of drinking on flight. I'll say that. I will say that for sure. I don't
It's
mind
worth
having
the
a
dollars.
cocktail or two. Yeah, of course.
It's worth the infinite dollars, even on Southwest.
I will say, heading into my bachelor party when we went to Tennessee, as drunk as I got that night before, that that did not feel so good flying. And then Chris was kind enough to upgrade me to business or first, whatever he did. And I remember getting finally like settling down. I was like, all right, I'll get a Bloody Mary or something. And that was nice. But yeah, I don't suggest being very hungover for a flight. It's not the best experience.
Actually, your bachelor party was the first time I ever really had a Bloody Mary. Because, like, I'd always either had, like, shitty ones or it was just like, yeah, I'm not, like, just drinking tomato juice. That's disgusting. But then, we're all hungover from the night before going to the flight. It's like, fuck it, I'll get a Bloody Mary too. And I was just like, oh my God, what is this
It's
nectar of the
delicious.
gods?
I, dude, I'm at the point with Bloody Marys. Like, I enjoy them so much. I'm even fine. Like, I get the pre-mix shit, without the alcohol. And if I don't have vodka, I'm like, I'll just make a virgin. Like, I actually just like the combination of all the shit without even alcohol. But yeah, as a next morning after, oh, hair of the dog, you can't go wrong with it.
Now, what are your opinions on the fancy diner ones that throw like the little slider and a pickle and a bacon and a scallop and a this and a that? It's like it's like a full like $20 meal just wrapped all around the fucking thing.
I'm of the opinion that shit's dumb. Like, do it once, okay, but no, it's too much. Like, I don't need to eat my meal off the top of my fucking drink. I don't mind if you have olives or even a pickle, but like once you start throwing bacon and fucking hamburgers and yeah, seafood, like, no. I'm sorry, it's no. Just order your food on the side like a gentleman and just get your goddamn regular Bloody Mary.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just like I sit there and I go, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? Like, I'll take a skewer with a couple shrimp on it. It's fine. Anything else is just it's excessive.
Yeah, everyone wants to get it once. You do it for the picture. You're like, oh, I got the crazy thing. And you're like, I'll never do that again.
Yeah, you go, oh, that was inconvenient.
This was totally not worth it, but okay. So yeah, good luck with your flight. You might have already done it, but cheers. I hope it was a safe one.
But yeah, oh yeah. So outside of anything Philly related, I just hit the airport bar. I'll get like one like thing from like the airport Chinese place. It's already like pre-made, and then I'll just hit something with a beer and get a couple of them. So
Yeah, pretty solid. Pretty solid.
yeah, for as much as I poop and as much as I am a celebrated pooper, I've yet to poop on an airplane. I'm trying to hold out on that as long as humanly possible.
Yeah, you are a legendary pooper. Um, I don't think I have either. Yeah. I think I'm like you though, like where I don't like flying. Um, so I think probably the nerves are going a little too much to like be too tense to get comfortable enough to be like, oh, I can take a shit now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking about way too much other stuff than my butthole at that point, and I think about that girl a lot.
T- Why is your butthole girl, Jim?
Let's not ask questions we don't want the
There's
answers
a,
to, Brian.
there's
That's
there's some Freudian things going on with that statement.
we can let some sleeping dogs lie there, Brian.
Oh fuck.
But on that note, that wraps up the Patreon questions for this week. Once again, thank you to all the patrons out there for all of your continued support. We really do appreciate it. Head on over there, check out all the tiers for your video game review requests, bonus content, bonus episode, game review requests, movie review requests, all that good stuff. Even though we're woefully behind, but we will. It's been one of those years. And
It
yeah,
sure has.
if you are listening to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, make sure to head on over to those different platforms, leave those subscriptions, leave those comments, star ratings, all that good stuff. Anything you can do will help the page.
Yeah, thank you guys. We always truly appreciate it. And keep those questions coming in.
Yep. And I have already just demolished that crush. That was way too goddamn good.
Yeah, I'm going to grab another beer myself. All right, Chambers. So, interesting little tweet you got here. I was reading into it. I don't know what your take is on it, if it's just informational and interesting to you. But there's a little chart, fiscal year sales comparison between the PS2 and the Switch over the first 8 years of each console. basically showing that by the end of year eight, the Switch was outselling the PS2 by about 23 million, 23 and some change million. So I think the chart's one thing. I think the more interesting thing is the discourse underneath it. And people care way too fucking much about this, in my opinion. But yeah, I
Right.
want to.
You need to have a team. You have to win.
I I think it's like anything where you go. Is there asterisks next to these? Is it known that like price differences? Is it known uh like with the Switch? Um it's basically their handheld and their console all in one. Like I don't know. There's weird. It's also, I think the amount of gamers from that PS2 era to Switch is drastically increased because now you not only have the generations of people that were playing games, but by the time Switch came out, most people's kids were playing that shit. So
I mean, yeah,
it's
there's
a weird one. Like I don't know. I never assumed the PS2 would always be the undefeated king. Like at some point, I don't know if overall it's beat it yet. I think it still has a little way to go to fully beat it. Um, but like it's weird to just cut it off a year. Like I don't give a fuck at the first 8 years. It's just like at the end of the day, all we ever care about is total numbers, right? So
well, yeah, I mean, it's because like for years now, people have been like, "Oh, is the Switch going to overtake the PS2?" And I think the PS2 ended around like 160 million units sold, but it also stuck around for like, oh God, for fucking ever. Probably about like 13, 14 years. So, like, it had a long time to sit there and like, rack up those sales numbers and shit like that. Granted, like the Switch has all its different variations, and there's people buying multiple Switches and all that bull crap. I get it too. And yeah, like the comments are interesting because it's just like this argument of people being like, "Oh, there's more gamers now," but it's like, "Oh, but the PS2 sold for cheaper towards the end of its lifespan. It stuck around forever," and it's just like back and forth, back and forth. Where I mean, it's just interesting to look at the first 8 years and be like, what's more impressive, like this day and age of gamers seeing 140 million, or 25 years ago seeing nearly 120 million units sold, even though the PS2 is also a lot of people's only DVD player. There's so many different factors here, but when you have two top dogs, eventually people are just going to start butting heads with it to see.
yeah, no, I mean I would guess because how many did the PS2 sell lifetime?
I think around 160 ish, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so yeah, we'll see. I don't. I, in 10 years, could the Switch sell another 60 or 20 million? Maybe. I don't
I
know.
mean, the rate it's been going, it might only need another year or two, but like obviously there's no way they can stretch this fucking console out more. Like they can maybe keep it around for longer while they have the new Switch out there to pad the numbers, but like you gotta think by this point it's coming to an end.
I think it's also interesting because the PS2, like between when the PS2 was sold and the PS3 came out, how long was that?
I think I want to say like 7 years because I think the PS2 was maybe like either very late '99 or early two. No, it had to be early 2000 because fucking the Dreamcast was 99.99. So yeah, it had to be early into 2000 for the PS2, and the PS3 came out in like what 2006, 2007, something along that lines. So it really only had like 6 or 7 years as the top dog console, whereas the Switch has been Nintendo's top dog console basically since launch.
But here's the like, and that's a caveat is like in this day and age, they needed that much time back in the day to have the gap between. I almost feel like did Switch purposely hold this out to try to get this record? Like, did the initial sales in these early years, did they start recognizing, ooh, we could be trending towards doing this. So let's keep delaying the next console for this reason. We know they're spiteful motherfuckers. That's why I'm asking.
That they is. I mean, it's very possible. They could have been, tracking all the. I mean, obviously they always track sales numbers no matter what, but they're probably like, "Ooh, we're keeping pace here. We're outpacing even." So Maybe they got in the head like, all right, let's milk this cow and get that record.
Yeah.
Old feather in the cap.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's one of those things. I couldn't tell you, which I assume right now is a Switch, but take the PS2 and a Switch out of it. Like, I don't know, and nor do I care what the next best selling console is. It is one of those things. Fanboys will always be whatever. Um, I don't know where it goes after this though, because like you and I talk about, like, are consoles themselves even going to be a thing that's really cared about or sold? I think the more impressive thing at this point is now just strictly games. Like, which games are selling the most, because you don't care which platform you use it for anymore. Like, that's going out the window.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. I don't know. I do not know what the answer is.
Yeah, no, but interesting little thing because we've talked about it before, like you said. So we'll see. Maybe in a year we'll be like, well, it's official, Switch outsold. But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Go Switch. Fuck the Sony ponies. Yeah.
God damn it, Jim.
What? What? I can't be a man
But
of conviction? I can't have be a man of morals here? Fighting for what's right?
yeah, you would with your wall of red. Goddamn commie.
Goddamn right. Hi, comrade.
So, Chambers, one of the things we cut last week and we brought back this week, it's a tweet from E Starland, and it's Metacritic's 20 best original games of the 21st century.
So before we go into this, I
Yes,
don't know where they pulled these numbers from. I don't know what metrics were used to rank them. I don't know nothing. He could have just pulled it out of his ass for memery and discussion. But either way, I'm taking it as gospel because it's fun to do that with these things.
exactly. Well, you know me, man. I
Unless
love
they're all
lists.
bullshit half the time anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, at the end of the day, a list by definition, unless you literally are like, I'm just pulling the top 20 Metacritic games from this year, and it really is just this is their score, fine. If you know, there's a few things about me. I like my list, and I do like kind of knowing the
Men,
rules of like what. God damn it! But I like knowing what made it, and that little caveat, best original games, threw me because I'm like, okay, like, so I guess that's why Skyrim or something like that's not on here, or any of the Fallouts, because I was like, oh, I guess they're not original because they're in a franchise. Is my only guess. Same with Call of Duty, same with all that. So I'm like, okay, I don't know that,
even though the original COD, I gotta say, was 21st century.
which is once again, yeah, the original COD probably shouldn't make it on this list. But then you're like, okay, well then I guess when they get to 4 or Modern Warfare 2, then it's not original anymore, right? It's deeper in the franchise. And this is me speculating because we don't know. I'll just say this list is both fascinating and fucking weird because it is based on Metacritic, and I just kind of go, fucking Braid, goddamn Dwarf Fortress, Skies of
Right,
Arcadia.
right, 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 right. Let's just real quick. I'll run down the
Go
numbers and then we
ahead.
can discuss.
Yeah.
20, Skies of Arcadia. 19, Okami. 18, Splinter Cell. 17, Minecraft. 16, SSX. 15, Braid. 14, Dwarf Fortress. 13, Company of Heroes. 12, God of War. 11, Metaphor Refantasio. 10, Jet Set Radio. 9, Gears of War. 8, Devil May Cry. 7, Red Dead Redemption. 6, The Last of Us. 5, Little Big Planet. 4, Elden Ring. 3, Bioshock. 2, Halo Combat Evolved, and 1, Perfect Dark. What a random ass list.
It's as random as it gets.
But yeah, back to your point. I have never heard of Dwarf Fortress. What the fuck is that?
Just and the placement of these games, right? Like, so once again, it's Metacritic. I guess the scores. I don't know Metacritic scores, um, but I'm sorry. Perfect Dark at number one. I like Perfect Dark. Everyone liked Perfect Dark, but fuck yourself. I'm sorry. Get out of here as the number one best original game of the 21st century. Like,
Like, did that really have like that glowing reviews when it came out? To like, hold up at that point to like
It's not even that original. It's fucking 007 with just looking through walls with more futuristic weapons.
it's GoldenEye with blurry shit. Yeah,
Like, okay, so Perfect Dark, I think you and I are in agreement. Get the fuck out, number one. I Even if you want to throw it on the list, fine. Make it number 20. Halo definitely should be there.
sure.
BioShock definitely should be there.
Yeah,
Elden Ring. I have a problem with Elden Ring just saying, is that really original? Because at the end of the day, it's another From Software game. Like the mechanics and the thing that make it the thing has been done time and time again. So at that point, why not just do Dark Souls?
yeah. Turn Breath of the Wild into Dark Souls. And it's like, I don't know,
Yeah,
questionable.
Little Big Planet, fine. Last of Us, fine. Read Dead Redemption, fine.
Oh yeah, that is mis.
Devil May Cry, fine. Gears of War, good. Jet Set Radio, I'm okay with that being in top 20. I don't know about number 10, but I'm okay with it in top 20.
I would say borderline, but yeah, sure.
Yeah. Get Metaphor the fuck out of here.
Been out for 2 months.
Fucking shit it out of a cannon. Get out of here. God of War. Do you think they mean the actual original God of War or the remake?
I mean, it looks like original from the
That's what
art.
I thought. But either way, I would agree. God of War should be on there. Company of Heroes. I've never played it, so I have no concept. But like of as we just talked about, if you're gonna throw a military shooter in there, just swap that with either a Battlefield or a Call of Duty, and I'd say, okay.
Right.
Fucking Dwarf Fortress. That one, I don't know why that one really pisses me off.
Because
Braid definitely.
it's that indie art house bullshit that you're like, no, fuck you. No. No.
Well,
I know
that's
what's going on
exactly
in your
how
head right now.
that's how I feel about Braid. Um,
Braid was a big deal when it came out, at least. Like, what was that, 2008 or something? But,
I would have accepted Super Meat Boy.
oh, yeah. Like, that, Celeste, fucking, there's a ton that could have gone there.
Yeah. Fuck, I would have accepted.
Journey would have been in there, or like,
I think
fucking Hollow Knight. Yeah.
Yeah, Hollow
Hollow
Knight should
Knight,
be in there in my
Hades.
opinion. But like SS, yeah, SSX. I love that game, so I'm okay. I mean, does it really deserve top 20? I don't know, but I like that game, so I'm okay with it. Minecraft, absolutely. Should be much higher. Splinter Cell. I was trying to remember. I can't believe that first game really. I guess it really was. For some reason, I thought it was early in the PS1 life when it came out, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, at first I was like, no, there's no way that was the 2000s, but maybe I was thinking of like Siphon Filter. So,
Yeah. Okami, another one I never played. I've heard nothing but amazing stuff for it.
and it's been
So,
ported to every console ever since its launch. So yeah, it's fine being on there.
yeah. Skies of Arcadia, get the fuck out of here. Um,
Right, the weebs though.
yeah, I don't know. Like off the top of my head, it's tough because, like I said, that term original may preclude a lot of games. Um, I don't know. Is there anything on here that you're saying like, oh wow, they really missed on this? Something that's obvious.
I mean, there's so much you could throw in there. Like one of the Witchers, you could have easily thrown in there.
Hmm.
Fucking even if we're gonna throw like Astrobot in there, just as a new franchise. Fucking, it feels like there's so many I'm missing right now that should be like easy ones to throw in, but I'm just like I'm blanking. Like it's like there's so many to pick from that I just can't like shit one out off the top of my head.
You know what's funny? And I know you and I jacked this game off way too much. Um, Throw Titanfall in there just because I look at that as I'm sure anyone who's played it actually really likes it, and maybe the reviews weren't great for it, but I feel like that was their original game,
Yeah,
and it's I don't know. I feel like that could get fucking rid of metaphor. Fucking metaphor. God, that pisses me off.
yeah, I'm surprised. Oh, I guess the because I'm like surprised maybe like a Persona game isn't in there, but then it's like, oh, that's part of Shin Megami Tensei, and I think that started on the PS1, so yeah, maybe that doesn't make it.
Hmm.
It's a lot of variables here.
Yeah, but if anything, I love my list. I just am happy you're in
You know
agreement.
what? I'm shocked that an Uncharted didn't make it.
Yeah.
And I don't even like the Uncharted games that much, but like I know how much they're loved, and like I'm shocked
Yeah,
that's not there.
that's hmm, that's a good
Because
point.
everyone was calling two like the best game of all time when it was released. I had the gaming mag, I had the Game Informer, and the websites. I remember seeing those reviews,
Once again, that goes back to my guesses.
or even like a fucking Jack and Daxter, or like one of those kind of franchises. Now they're a little forgotten, but yeah, so much
Yeah.
shit that could have gone in there.
Well, I mean, my guess is the term original, you have to use the first game. And let's be honest, Uncharted 2 might have done amazing, but as we saw, Uncharted 1 did not age very well at
Oh no,
all.
that game sucks. Yeah.
So I guess if they can't put the first one, then they won't put it.
All right. I guess I can go with that.
Yeah. So I love a good list. I like breaking these apart. I think if I was swapping shit around, I would honestly put BioShock at one. I would probably put that at one, Halo at two, um, Elden Ring. If you're gonna let a From Software game, fine, put it somewhere in the top 10. I don't know. Move Minecraft up into the top five. Leave Little Big Planet hovering around that five spot. Red Dead Redemption, I'm okay with that. God of War probably move up. Yeah, then just figure out what the fuck replaces Metaphor, Dwarf Fortress, and Braid. Like I said, I truly do think Hollow Knight should be replacing Braid. If you want an indie darling that everyone loves, that wasn't just some fucking nerd that was too cool for school. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, at least it wasn't like Fez with Phil Fish and all of his bullshit. So
You know what's actually I'm surprised isn't on here is like something like Splatoon, like the only kind of original thing from Nintendo in the 20th century.
yeah, or even like a Pikmin.
Fuck Pikmin. That's just lemmings.
Right. It's real time strategy.
I'm just glad we didn't see none of those mobile games like Slay the Spire.
I was waiting for that.
Would Alien Isolation be considered an original game?
I mean, there were Alien games before it, so probably can't.
Okay. If that's a criteria, fine. If it wasn't, I would say when I think horror games that did something, that should be in there. Maybe
Yeah,
Outlast.
I was gonna say, are you mad to like Outlast or Amnesia, even fucking Five Nights at Freddy's?
I, when you talk about impact, yeah, I think Outlast makes sense why it wouldn't be. It's probably still a little too niche. Five Nights at Freddy's, though, like I was even gonna go like, yeah, I feel like Amnesia. Actually, that's a good call. That should be on there. But yeah, because I was trying to remember, like, fuck, when did Resident Evil come out? Was that 98
The
or
first one was like 96,
97? Was it?
96 or
Okay.
97, something like that.
Um, yeah, so they couldn't put any Resident Evils. Silent Hill was,
PS1.
yeah, so you can't put those. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I wasn't truly going into this thinking there was gonna be horror, but no, I like a good list. So just, yeah, get rid of some of those weird ones. Fucking Elden Ring.
But
But speaking of Elden Ring,
uh.
eh, what's gonna happen with From Software, Jim?
Bryce,
Potentially.
Sony's gonna fucking buy it.
This is the most obvious, like,
Bry, it's
well,
bad when Nintendo
fucking
when Microsoft does it, but it'll be fine if so. Actually, no one's cheering this on. But yeah, basically, anime publisher and FromSoft parent company Katakawa Corporation said that it is ready for a purchase deal with Sony if the latter would buy it entirely. Sony, in its turn, is cautious about buying anime and video game related assets. So this is coming from a Bloomberg report. So of course you have to pay for that shit, which I'm not gonna fucking do. The companies have been discussing the potential acquisition deal for years, but haven't reached an agreement over to the degree of commitment. But they're at a formal stage of negotiation, which is very encouraging. So yeah, apparently Katakawa owns over 100,000 anime and sci-fi novels and comics and holding stakes in game development companies, including FromSoft, which made Elden Ring, as we talked about. And yeah, then it just kind of goes on from there. But yeah, it's basically they want to. Kadokawa kind of just wants to dump all of its stock into something for the right price, and Sony seems to be the obvious bidder because, I mean, FromSoft right now is kind of just a full-on second-party developer for them. So, okay, you want to get them in the fold, Brian? You want to see them in there?
Who other than Bloodborne, were any of their other games PlayStation exclusives?
I want to say Dark Souls and Demon Souls were back in the PS3 days. Like, I think it
Yeah.
started exclusively on Sony and then it went eventually to the other consoles. I could be wrong. I think Demon Souls might have just been PS3 and then Dark Souls might have been across with that and Microsoft, but I'm not entirely sure.
Um, yeah, at this point they're saying
And then Bloodborne, like, Sony helped fund its development, so that's why that stayed an exclusive, and now it's in this weird limbo where it can't be re-released. That whole bullshit.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking right now. I think Bloodborne might have been from the games of that sound. There are like a bunch of random like Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn as a PS3 exclusive.
Fuck
In
yeah.
case, in case you wanted that, Demon
Didn't
Souls was a PS3 exclusive.
didn't FromSoft have a like a first-person dungeon crawling horror game on like the PS1, if I remember right? I forget what it's called.
I'm looking at them all right now. Echo Knight 2 is a, yeah,
No.
no, Echo Knight is a first game. It looks like a horror game, first person adventure horror game. So Echo Knight 1 and 2. Shadow Tower is another one. It's a role playing game. And then they had like Kingsfield, Armored Core. Yeah, Echo Knight must have been the one you're thinking of.
Yeah, it's probably it.
Ooh, you might have just made me have to do some emulation.
Put a little twitch in your knickers over there.
Damn it.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I didn't realize how many other games from software made. Like I know we talked about before about all these like Armored Core shit,
Yeah,
but yeah, outside of the whatever you want to call uh demon style
Soulsborne is what they call it anymore.
Soulsborne game. Yeah.
Learn your terms, you fucking prick fraud gaming journalist podcaster piece of shit.
I thought they made Ghost of Tsushima, but they don't. They made
Yeah,
Sekiro.
Sekiro. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima was an Ubisoft game, I think.
Mm, okay. Yeah, it's interesting, and they said they have like 26 games or something in development. So
Damn.
I, I yeah, I don't know. This isn't as big of a news as the shit Microsoft has gobbled up. So I think PlayStation would just from software, not that they care, they'd be hurting themselves. I think limiting it to just PlayStation because I doubt PlayStation is going to give a Sony or Microsoft the same deal that Microsoft gave them, where like you're going to get access to our shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't see it being that like crazy and shit like that. I mean,
Yeah,
FromSoft is big, but they were a niche for a long time too. So yeah, they don't have that kind of clout that say Activision would have fucking had.
yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I don't know. Doesn't really affect me. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Bloodborne, and I keep talking about how much I love it. The other games, I don't get it. I do want to try Elden Ring. Um, I know you spend your time with it. You definitely could have beaten Elden Ring with the time you sunk into all these others.
Yeah, yeah. With my roguelike addiction this year, I could have definitely finished off Elden Ring finally.
Yeah, but
Oops. But yeah, it'll be an interesting purchase. Another thing for another feather in the cap for Sony exclusives. Because they've had a hell of a feather in the cap this year with Astrobot, haven't they, Brian?
true, they sure have. And you know what? I want to play it. But
Even
prob-
old jaded Brian who hates cutesy shit calls it slurs left and right, stuff he can't say on the internet. Even he wants to play it.
I just say that about Kirby. All right.
Look, for the people
Astrobot is
for the people out
Astrobot
there.
is basically Little Big Planet, but with a robot. That's all
So
it is.
if you ever saw Falling Down and you saw a certain scene in a certain shop where a guy's holding up a snow globe and what he says about it, that's what Brian likes to say about these kind of games.
This is all libelous, Jim, so fuck you. But no, yeah, so this article from the Gamer, from Stacy Henley, uh, basically says I'm conflicted about Astrobot as game of the year, and goes on to basically write that uh, she gave Astrobot a 5 out of 5, and it's
her
one of
her
the only,
her first perfect score she ever gave a game.
yeah, first perfect score. And she goes on to basically say, like, I love the shit out of it, da da da. But what the article basically surmises is like it's just a really fun game. There's no depth to it. It's just a fun video game. And is like kind of trying to make the argument like, should a game of the year contender be just a fun, entertaining video game, or should it have depth? Should it have you thinking about stuff? Should it blah 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 blah? Reading this article, I right away was like, oh, I know Jim's like, well, fuck you. That's the whole point of a game. It should be fun.
Well, yeah, I
Well,
mean, at the end, it's like, yeah, like that's the most important thing. Like, if a game is just fun and plays great, like that should be commended, and she does commend it. But she's got that like journo sickness where she has to think the games are more in a way.
okay, so
But you know
this,
what? But here's the thing though, and let's get into it because this is also this week's Gamers Mad, the return of the classic, Brian. Because Sophia Norwitz, she is a Twitter pundit, more right leaning, criticizes journalism and shit like that a lot. And she goes on to kind of summarize this article with saying, this game is really good, and I gave it a perfect score because of how fun it is, but I don't want it to win Game of the Year because it's not socially conscious and or deep enough. It's a perfect summation of everything wrong with current gaming media. It's okay if something just wants to be fun. And it's like, yeah, I agree with the second part, but the first part isn't what the person's saying in the article. Like
yeah,
they never once say this game isn't socially conscious enough or like it's not making a statement. She's just lamenting, that can a game be game of the year if it's just really fun and well made? Which like it seems like an obvious yes, but and like I can get being annoyed at a journalist for making an article like that, but it's like what she's this Sophia is saying isn't what she's fucking saying. It's just rage baiting.
yeah. No, I agree with you. Definitely rage baiting. Um,
It's like just read the fucking article, and of course, no one in the comments section will actually read the article. They'll
no,
just see what the
yeah, I have a problem with, I think I have the biggest problem with the quotation marks, right? Because then you're making it sound like that is a direct quote that she made in there. So
right. If I can
even
quote Dennis Reynolds, but the implication.
this is nothing but implication. And to that point, like even dummy me, grammar was terrible at it. I don't fucking ask me what breaking down sentences are. I've always been terrible at that. But even I recognize you don't fucking put quotation marks unless it's actually what the person said. Um, I don't like the rage baiting of it. I don't agree that a game needs to be socially conscious. But what I will say is, and the article kind of brings it up, is like, I don't know, like I feel like the same people who are giving this person shit for basically saying like, I love this game, it's super fun, should it be game of the year? And people are like, yes, that's enough. Well, then could you say the same thing about fucking an Avengers movie or Deadpool? Like, were you entertained? All right, is that enough for a good movie? Or do you need a movie to be deeper? Like, you could make that same argument, right?
Yeah,
So you can't be a snob in this arena and then be shitty in this one. It's like, well, this song is just too poppy. Too many people like it. Well, isn't that the fucking point of music? Like, you know, like I don't know. Like I feel like I've always been of the opinion, like you, is the game fun? That's number one. If it's not fun, what the fuck are we talking about? There is a place for the Until Dawns and other theatrical games, I'll call them. And then there's other games that are very deep, like what's he was it? Last of Edith Finch and shit like that.
I thought you were about to say what's eating Gilbert Grape. I was like, damn, I have to play this fucking game.
I was about to say what's eating Edith Finch.
Me.
um, but yeah, I don't know. Like it's weird. You and I could get care two shits less about game of the year. So none of that matters to us. However, I don't know. Should there be criteria that a game is like, because what is Astro Boy by like 8 hours? We heard 6 hours.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Probably like 8 to 10, if I had to guess. But
I
like
don't
with all
know.
the unlockables, probably close to 20 with if you want to be a completionist and shit.
So I'm fine with it being game of year, but where it shouldn't be is like things like, and I don't know for sure, but I thought we said it was the same exact thing was like best narrative or best game direction. Like, I don't know. There's a place for a game that like, okay, it hits you on other levels. We've said a game like Plague's Tale, man, does that tug at your heartstrings. Like when you lose your little brother to a fucking sea of rats and like you actually care about those characters, if you're an Astro, you don't give two fucks, right? You're just like, oh boy, I died. I don't care. Like you're there's no emotional connection. It's just fun gameplay.
Quick aside, did you ever
Um,
play the second Plague Tale? I never got around to it.
Not yet, but I it's another. It's on my definitely need to hit up list because how much we both love the first one.
Because that's a game that just like came and went. Like people were just like, yeah, it's kind of cool, and then no one talked about it again after a week. I was like,
M-
mm.
My guess is it must be just the first one, but expand it.
Yeah, because even the first one, like I never heard of it until you told me about it. So
Yeah, yeah. But no, I mean, she also says in the article is like basically like it feel. I think her one biggest issue with it is it feels like this year it's such a landslide compared to other years, where it's like it's a foregone conclusion. Astrobot is going to win. Like these other games don't stand a chance, basically.
and it's like, okay, maybe right. If I can quote the Macho Man Randy Savage, sometimes the cream just rises to the crop. All right, or
But you didn't do it like him. You didn't say, "Oh yeah."
damn it. But yeah, I think I even fucked up the quote too. So anyway, but yeah, sometimes something is just the best that happens that year. Like this is one of those ones where it's like there's so many ways you could probably criticize this article, and it's not like it's a harmless article. It's just someone lamenting. But I think this is again like it's like a game journalist almost having imposter syndrome, like for being a game journalist, where they have to think that their medium's more artful than it really is a lot of the time, and that's what they
Yeah.
want to get out of it, and like what they think they should praise. It's like, no, at the end of the day, it's a game. Like if it's a game that's really good, then it's good to have a game that is really good. It's fine.
I, I'm torn because on one hand you're like, okay, if you're someone who's writing an article for the gamer, I don't know what kind of numbers they pull as far as views, like, and you're trying to make an interesting article, and you're told like, let's write about Astrobot. What else can you say? You're like, it's just a fun game. So is it someone just trying to take the devil's advocate approach? And if it is, okay,
And
I
at
can
least
respect that.
and at least to the gamer's credit, like it isn't this like insanely incendiary fucking headline for an article that's barely
Oh
about what they
God.
say. It didn't pull a Kotaku or a Polygon on. It's like the article, the headline gave us what the article was. So
Oh God. If it was Kotaku, it's like, why is the robot only white in Astrobot? You know, like it would be the most ridiculous thing. Like it would,
right,
it would be so rage baiting. It would be insane.
you have to think about it though. In a post George Floyd world, can we really celebrate a white robot being so fun to play as?
Damn it.
Shit,
Yeah.
hire me. I am
It,
available.
it's fascinating. But yeah, this person, the Sophia Narwitz, and you said she's what? Is she just a? Does she do something?
I think she's
Just
just
a content creator?
yeah, basically
Okay.
commentator, content creator on the whole gaming sphere.
Here's my question. Do you think she actually legitimately read the entire article, or did she read a couple sentences in and go, meh, 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 meh?
No, she probably read the whole thing and she just went, all right, here's how I can spin this.
Okay. I like that.
I'm going with some internalization and some projection and some good old fashioned bait for Elon dollars. That's what I'm going with.
Well, You guys let us know. Should a game that's just fun be game of the year or not? You tell me.
It's
Because,
an honest
Jim, I'm
question.
about to tell you all about my normie view on this week's segment, and I want you to set the stage. And while you're doing it, sit on your couch.
Well, Brian, this week we're damn it. Hey, damn it. Couch is right over here. I couldn't do that. So, Brian, you might not know this about me. Anyone out there who has ever listened to the audio portion of this podcast out there, you might not have realized after all this time that I am actually, in fact, white, much to my shame and chagrin. So, I might not be as in tune with the hip hop culture as you would expect. As you would have thought by listening to me, you'd say, this guy knows it all. He's basically no jumper. And I know. I try. I project. But at the end of the day, Brian, I can only do so much. So, I have never heard of this gentleman known as Dave Blunts before, Brian. Have you?
Sure as shit did not.
All right. So this has been going all over the place on Twitter this past week. Uh, Dave Blunts. Some could say he's a little bit on the bigger side, a bit rotund even. And apparently he is having a bit of a
Can we
little
back up for 1 second?
go
My
on.
reference to what's eating Gilbert Grape is perfect for this guy. So let's just put it there. All right.
That is a that is an apt
And he's
comparison.
actually dressed like a grape. So that's even better.
Damn, he is a grimace looking motherfucker, isn't he?
What's eating David Grape? The name of the segment. Go ahead.
So apparently, what he's eating is too much. He's not putting down that cup and eating too many chips because that's what Snoop Dogg said to him in a response on Instagram, which has led to a little bit of a viral clip now that has been going around. Only 11.4 million views just on this guy. Other people have reposted it to hundreds of millions of views. And he was performing at the Juice World Day 2024 in Chicago. And as he's going out there, he's basically, before doing a song, saying, Snoop, you need to get off my dick before going into his song. And Snoop, as I just said, his going in on his dick was just saying, why don't you put down the chips? Why he says that is because this gentleman happens to be performing on stage. Oh, yeah, he also goes, any of you care out there? I'm sitting on this couch right now. Because he is actually sitting on what appears to be basically an IKEA couch in the middle of a stage with an oxygen tank as he is goes into starting to sing his song. So Brian, so obviously Snoop made a little response where he just goes, "Ah, shit, man, you're still mad about this? All right, whatever, you win." And he's just laughing the whole time. And he did have a little dig there. He's like, "All right, little man, I mean big man," or he went big man, little man, whatever. So Snoop knows what he's doing. But Brian, who do you think's writing this, Brian? Do you think Snoop should have gone so low, punch so far down on this poor spiraling star here, going for the cheap shot with the fatty jokes?
A cheap shot with fatty jokes is like this
Right,
guy is
right. I know we live in Trump's America now, all right? But is it wrong? Is it wrong to
no,
do?
no, number one, fat shaming is a thing that there's legit fat shaming, and then there's calling out your buddies or calling out people. It's like, yeah, you need to lose some weight. All right. Growing up with my family or whatever, like if you did look a little whatever, you got called out for that shit. Pretty, did it hurt? Yep. But did it make you go, maybe there's a point here? This guy is beyond. Like you said, he's sitting on a couch. That's just buckling in. If you watch the whole video, which I will have streaming, or I will have going as we're talking, there's a
Right?
girl that
No,
comes
there's too
by.
much bandwidth to render him. Fuck.
There's a girl comes over, and at first I had skipped forward before I listened to it all the way through. I thought she was coming over to check on him. Like I didn't realize she was a performer. And there's this very awkward point where she's holding his hand, but like you could tell she's like, I don't want to be doing this. It's so fucking weird. He's got an oxygen tank. You fucking Todd Browning warned us back in the day with the movie Freaks, and people used to hear of the movie, like the old time like freak shows that people go to. People were gonna look back at this and be like, "How did you let that happen? Like this is not okay." Like I'm just saying, a dude is sitting on a couch with an oxygen tank. How do you think he got up there? Right? Like, can you imagine being in that crowd? I went to You were with me. We went to a Jelly Roll concert, and he even made a joke. He's like, God damn. He's like, I'm tired of walking this.
Hey,
How
big
do
boy.
you think this guy got the fuck out there? So, no, it's just a funny. I think Snoop, yeah, and I was trying to find his original post where he said, "Put down the chicken wings and tater chips."
It was a comment on an Instagram post.
Yeah, so it's like I think he threw it out there as just a like anyone's general reaction when you saw this guy would probably have the same thing, and I think that was just a very honest. He's probably high as shit. Like, oh damn, like chill out with this stuff. And then the guy took it too far. Um, Yeah, I feel the same way like when you see some of these old rock stars who are like in their 80s or 90s can barely move and they just put them in front of a mic or any singer and you just feel bad for the actual performer. You're like,
Like when you see 2023 Vince Neil on stage.
"Yes." You're like, "Oh, just stop. Just do cameos. Like do something else. Don't do this. Stop performing." Like that you don't want to see people go out like this. Now, I don't know Dave Blunt's if I assume he's always been a larger guy.
Bri,
Um,
let's play a game here, Bri.
Go on.
How old do you think Dave Blunts is? Now I know it's not fair because black don't crack, but that aside,
Jim, just the fact that you're asking me it leads me to believe he's going to be much younger than I thought. I was thinking very late 30s, early 40s.
according to whatever you look up, he is between 24 to 26 years old.
Jesus Christ. That's not good. He's basically boogie amplified.
Oh, he's way worse off than Boogie ever was.
Like, and I'm trying to listen to the music. I'm like, is he actually even singing?
He is,
Like,
but he's like singing over a backing track, which is also perfectly mimicking what he's singing. So it's almost like a weird, like, slightly split second echo going on to it. So he is doing
uh,
it, but it's like, at that point, it's like, why?
I don't listen. Snoop is not in the wrong here. He threw a little shot. There's also like an expectation, right? Like there's certain people you're like, all right, don't make fun of someone because they're overweight, blah 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 blah. This is a different level, and you're a performer and you're on stage with an oxygen tank. Like you're putting yourself up there to be called out by whomever. So yeah, I am on Snoop's side with this one.
We need some shame brought back, Bry.
Sh-
As the resident as the
yes,
resident self-hating fat guy right here, I look at him and I go, "Oh, buddy, like that just should not happen. I should not happen. You, especially at 24, that should never happen. I don't care
dude.
what the circumstances are."
There, shame has its place. That's all I'm going to say. There's a reason back in the day, instead of putting people in jail or executing them, it was public displays of shame. You put them out, you called them out for being a thief, throw vegetables at them. That worked better sometimes than just throwing them in jail.
Like this guy, throw him in a cage and charge 5 cents a gander. All right.
I didn't quite say that, but you know what? Being called out by Snoop, watch, he's going to be like the fucking next Ozempic guy. We'll
I mean,
see.
it might be the best thing that ever happened to his career because God knows, I never fucking heard of the guy before this. So
Jim, as the person giving my opinion, the real question is anyone actually defending him in this?
this is like the one time I can say I don't think I've seen. Now, granted, hip hop culture and Twitter lefty woke culture,
They do not mix.
they don't really mix. So you check these comment sections, no matter where they're posting this shit. It's just people like, you can't be 700 pounds and saying, "Get off my dick," because 56% of the goddamn comments are, "You've never seen it." You just open yourself up to that kind of stuff. It's like, no, this guy's just getting raked through the coals. Like everyone's just like, "Oh, fuck, he's so big." That's really all it ever comes down to.
Jim, here's a question. If you wanted to be the empathetic one in this situation, how do you get there?
I mean, he probably had like, some kind of trauma in his childhood and shit like that. He could have just a straight up food addiction that he can't control. Like, it happens. You know, there's ways to get there, but it's like, man, like if all you're doing is just eating shitty food and drinking soda all day, every day, And it's very easy to fall into that trap. So like it can happen, but like goddamn.
But isn't there a level of what's my called? Like when you're a performer, especially that you go, what am I doing? I don't know. Like
I mean, eventually it
people
becomes your
that
thing. Like,
are
right, is this gonna be this generation's big pun? Gone too soon?
I mean, I don't even think Big Pun got that big. He was big. I don't know if he got that big.
Yeah, I don't know if he got
Now I
that. I
gotta
mean,
look it up.
he was a big
No,
motherfucker though. But he could
he
still
was
walk.
big.
He could walk.
He damn, he was pretty big. Shit. I don't know, man. That shit's crazy. Bring back the shame. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Some light shame and bullying goes a long way. That's all I'm gonna say, Jim. That's it. Tell me
There
I'm
you go.
wrong.
I mean, you're probably preaching to the choir at this point. As a guy who's been on the receiving end, it's like it's not like you're telling these people anything they don't already know. But right,
There's levels.
do you go
We've
do you go to fat bastard route? Do you eat because you're sad and you're sad because you eat? Is it a vicious cycle?
It could be, but if Snoop calls you out, man, I don't know.
I mean, he rolls deep with Martha, so you know you can't be fucked with that.
The shoe don't fit. Maybe it's time to downsize. See what I did there?
I mean, it's a stretch. I get it. The fuck you
See what I
pulled?
did?
What corner of your ass cheek did you pull that out of?
The left one.
All right, well, fair enough.
I like it though. No, it's you know what? It was actually a normie view where it wasn't just I don't know what else to say. No name YouTubers fighting over stupid shit.
Well, like yeah.
Speaking of that, what is let me expand for 1 second. What
Ooh,
the fuck
follow up.
is this situation with Alyssa McConte and I'll just say the gaggle of these other guys on top of fucking Smash.
I mean, she's always fighting with them, but this week the biggest one she has with 8-Bit Eric because he decided to do a drunk stream one night, so I think it was streamed for like 6 hours or something. And he was drunk, and at one point he brought her up and he started saying, you know, 8-inch Eric can fix her and crap like that. So yeah, she apparently went and reported his stream to YouTube, and they struck it down.
Did they so that was gonna be my question. I saw their like back and forth. I was curious if they did anything. So they did strike it down.
Yes, yes, they did actually, which I was kind of surprised about because it's like you're allowed to talk shit to a certain point on YouTube. I just guess I didn't realize what that point was going to be.
Do you think? Hmm. I saw her responses. I didn't watch his full video, but like I know what she was referencing. He was saying,
Yeah, like the
"Do
actual
you
clip's maybe like a minute and a half long from what he's talking about her.
do you think what he was saying is enough that should be stricken down?" You and I know, are generally on this on the opinion of like let anything flow. But what he was saying, I'm just asking in general, should that be enough that if you're somebody who really wants to take it down because you're the person being talked about in that, should that be enough?
I mean, for the shit
Put
that
aside your feelings of her. Like I'm
right.
saying, like,
Yeah, my feelings of her in YouTube. No, actually, like I was surprised that it got taken down, to be honest with you. Like I was
yeah.
like, yeah, like what he was saying was yeah, it was like gross. You're watching just like, ugh, God. But it's just like, you know, it's drunk shit talk, basically. Like, is it appropriate? No. Is it gross? Yeah. But is it something that I thought YouTube would take that strong a stance on? I was kind of surprised that they did. For a lot of the shit that they let slide on there, this seemed way lower tier on the extreme side of things, I have to say.
So then I guess my question is, do you think pressure from people should be like this is a question of right like should there be an actual like automated algorithm doing this shit or should it be a person that's like now you're being pressured by someone on Twitch and all these people and now you feel the need to respond.
I mean, it mostly is just done by algorithms and automation, like because they get so many reports all day, every day. Like YouTube's the end all be all for basically the platform. So uh, I think like you can when it goes to appeals process, maybe a human actually looks at it. So maybe that could change the decision. But yeah, I mean, I guess whatever bot was looking at it that day, like you are looking at it, you're just like, ah, man, this is like it wasn't the grossest thing in the world, but it's still just like, yeah, this is like you shouldn't be doing this right now, obviously. So I don't care what kind of shit talk you're throwing out there. So it's like, do I care it got taken down? No, but I am just surprised as a content creator. It's like, oh, this is the level of stuff that can be taken down now.
I mean, Jim, as you and I, as the known guys to drink a bit too much and get too drunk. Yeah, even I'm like, do you really not? Are you really not able to control yourself that much when you get drunk?
Yeah,
I
it's like
I don't know. There's levels. I've been plenty drunk on streams, these things. We've had people like, yeah, I don't know. I can't tell what that is.
yeah, like I mean, and I also don't need Eric to have like a 6 paragraph tweet like explaining his side of things like he does with every single response tweet he does. Jesus Christ, they're unreadable. But it's like, yeah, it's like at that point, like yeah, he was obviously slurring. He was definitely plastered at that point, and I don't know how much the guy drinks. But it's like
Yeah.
even then, like here's the thing: as a drunk guy who runs a beer page who's made an ass of himself while drunk, in very very rare circumstances all alcohol does is it just makes something you want to do easier to do. So at the end of the day, it's something you probably know what you're saying and you go, I shouldn't do this, but you go, fuck it. And you just kind of go for it. And like, unless you absolutely do not remember the next day, for the most part, like, if when you make an ass out of yourself, it is kind of your true self coming out there. And you're just kind of going, that's tomorrow's problem.
I do believe. Yeah, I'm a firm believer that alcohol lowers your inhibitions from what you want to do. So if you're good, you'll just be good maxed out. If you're bad, you'll be bad maxed out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to say like everyone can't make mistakes, but when you're looking at something like that, it's like, as you're watching, it's just like, this is something that he would have loved to have said. And he's just like, oh, well, I was drunk and shit talking. And trying to say, like, this is, and like, the 8-inch Eric thing could have been an in joke with his community for all I know, but it's still just like, yeah, but you know what you're saying there. Like,
Yeah.
once you go 8-inch Eric can fix you, it's like, that's probably when you're crossing the line. That's probably when the algorithm goes, yeah, we're not even fucking with this one.
Yeah, interesting. But no, I had to bring that up. We talked normie view. I said unfortunately that shit flooded my timeline, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, like I've like as much as I want Norm Review to kind of be like the internet news of the day. I don't want it always to be like the culture war shit or just like the worst parts of this fucking like the
Yeah.
online world. Like I know like some people are like, oh, you got to follow up on Destiny again, and it's like, how much can I really say about bisexual guy who's has videos leaks of him just full on sucking dick, just going to town, going to fucking
I did not need to know any of that or knew any of that. Damn it, Jim.
because last week there were the Discord leaks where he's talking about how much he likes it, and then yeah, the videos dropped. Now, my hope is that the eventual one proving Nick Fuentes was there drops because that'll be the funniest outcome. But
Who the fuck is Nick Fuentes?
he's this super alt-right provocateur guy, runs America First. Uh, he's like pushing 30. He's never had a girlfriend. He's strictly anti-masturbation from what he says, but he also, what do you call it? Like is known for like hanging out with cat boys and like he's just obviously gay. He's obviously
You
super
just
gay.
threw so many fucking terms at me that I'm like, what is this? What is you know what? I
A-
don't even
a-
want to know.
here, Brian. After Trump won, he was the guy who was the first one to make the tweet "Your body, my choice." That like became the shithead anthem for a lot of people out there. So he was the first one who came up with that. The gayest man in the world came up with that. Let's put it out there for anyone using that.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, we do not want to become that.
So, Brian, you can do the norm review next week, and you can watch all the Destiny videos on KB
I'm good.
Farms, and
Nope.
you can bring it in, and I will give
And
you my opinion. You know what? I think that's
there,
good homework, Brian. I think we should do that.
you know what? I've always been bad at homework, and I'll fail that assignment. So
Fuck
there you go.
you. You were a way better student than I was. You can't even bullshit about that.
I was, but you know what? Some assignments I stand my ground. This is my Alamo, Jim.
God damn it.
Oh, you fucker. So how did those Orange Crush imitators treat you?
I only had the one, but it was goddamn delicious. I mean, honestly, if you're in Virginia and you can get your hands on some Devil's Backbone distilleries,
They're
because
always good.
I had a couple of them when I was down there. It was fucking great. Then after that, I just had me good old fashioned Miller Lite to wash it down with. Actually, drinking it out of my good old one of my Dick Show glasses. So this is the one of Sean, the audio engineer, who just announced he is leaving the show as of this week. So after that's a lot of money and shit he's walking away from. So kind of a shock to the community, but he was like the heart and soul of that show, really. So he'll be sorely missed. And yeah, but no, the Orange Crush, absolutely goddamn delicious.
Nice. Yeah, brotherly love for a hazy IPA. I prefer it over a couple others I've had. Victory doesn't really mess with their beer, similar to Sam Adams. So if you're able to find it, I'd say give it a try if you like the hazies. If you don't, you're not going to love it. But for 6%, still goes down way too smooth. And yeah, I'd recommend it for future. But with that, guys, we want to say thank you all so much for listening, for watching. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like. And if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, make sure you leave us a comment, give us a 5-star rating. And if you do, we'll read each and every one of those comments on these Power Hour podcasts. With that, we want to say have a good night, everyone, and cheers.
Cheers, everybody.